It goes into the strobe and then the flashing strobe mode. All right, everybody, how's it going? Adam here with Gear 43. Here we have the FENIX HT30R. This flashlight is the epitome of brightness. This thing is designed to throw a beam, an intense beam at that, almost a mile. That's right, almost 1 whole mile. It is crazy what this little light can do in such a small package. It is truly amazing. And we're gonna get into this one that the brand gifted Gear 43 for us to review. So let's get into it. So what is the FENIX HT30R white laser flashlight? Well, besides being a mouthful, it is a class 1 laser flashlight. That's right. In there you can see, it doesn't really look like, I have a different flashlight here. You can kind of see the LED down in there, and you can see how it's got the little cone over it, but you kind of see this weird eye. Now, what's funny is, we're gonna get into this in just a minute, but the lumens of these, I've had this light for a really long time, and this actually has more lumens than this, but this is far less Candela, and we'll get into that here in a minute. But you can just kind of see that laser diode is in there, and it is insane. This is a USB powered, well, it's battery powered, USB-C charging, excuse me. USB-C charging right there on the side. It has this sweet little covert entry there for the USB Type-C. And it is waterproof, dustproof. Now, this is a low lumen, high Candela, like I was talking about earlier. With its all metal construction, this light also features a 2-button tail switch. As we see here, we have 1 button, 2 buttons. And this is our power button, which is, brace for it. There's our on, and then when it's on, this button becomes the high-low. You can kind of see it pretty good there. So that's low, that's high, if you can even see that. Then when it's off and the secondary button is depressed, warning for anybody that might have seizures, it goes into the strobe and then the flashing strobe mode. Just with that. And so that's kind of nice. It's really nice if you're just want to turn it on and you can toggle between high and low, because as we talk about it, this thing will chew through batteries like there's no tomorrow. And so we'll talk about that a little bit later into the video. But here, this thing is so nice to have these 2 switches on the very back of the tail switch here. Super handy. So if you are, let's talk about lumens. If you're unsure what the difference between lumens and Candela are, here is what the internet says. Lumens and Candela are the photometric units that measure different aspects of light. Lumens quantify the total visible light emitted by the source in all directions, reflecting its brightness. All right, so that's just saying from this light how much light is going to be shot out of it in any direction. Now, in contrast, Candela measures the intensity of the light in a specific or focused direction. This is based on the angle of emission. Essentially, lumens access total light output, while Candela describe the direction of intensity. So that's saying this has a low lumen, only 500, but it has over 600,000 Candela. Now, as I mentioned before, this light I've had for a long time. This is only 600 lumen, so it's 100 lumen more than this, but this only has probably 20,000 Candela, so it's way less bright. As you can see, that's low, high. Now, this is what's really crazy. You can see the difference, and even this is on low. And so we can see side by side, there's a huge difference between the beam patterns on these lights. And that is what the Candela versus lumen is describing to us. And so that's where this FENIX HT30R is a high Candela, low lumen. So that's gonna be more distance oriented versus more of a floodlight. So like I said, this thing is so bright. Even the lowest setting, let's go there now. Ooh, there it is. This thing is no slouch. 500 lumens, 600,000 Candela power. So just as a comparison, most of us are like, well, how much is 600,000 Candela. That sounds like a lot, but is it truly a lot? So your typical high beam on your average car is about 50,000. 50,000 Candela in your high beams on your average sedan or SUV. This is literally like having 12 car high beams in a handheld light. And for it having that much power, I feel like it's a pretty small package, if I'm honest. It's built really, really well. This thing is a pretty hefty chunk of metal. It's all metal except for the front cap here over the lens and the rubber tail caps. Everything else, oh, and sorry, the rubber grommet here to seal the charging port, that's not metal, that's rubber. Everything else is metal. The body, the tail cap are made of aluminum, and the switches are made of industrial grade rubber. These things are nice and chunky and nice and strong, and they're gonna last a long, long time. These things have a great review, and I actually know a guy that has not this light, but a similar one from this brand, FENIX, and they have had it for probably 8 to 9 years, and they have never had a problem with it. They still use it every day. You're off to the races. So as much as the beam pattern is a plus for this light, it is a bit of a drawback as well. This light is made for seeing a long, long distance, but if you're trying to use it like a normal flashlight, it's gonna underperform pretty badly. Under 100 feet, it's almost worthless. You can't see very well because it's so bright. You're pretty much just blinding yourself the whole time. So if you do buy this light for a one and done light, you want to see close, you want to see far, you will be disappointed with the up close performance of this light. Not that you will be lacking any kind of brightness, but it'll be so bright that you won't be able to see anything, and the light pattern is so small that you're not going to be able to illuminate more than, you know, maybe this like $50 piece at 25 yards. This is a good battery. It can take a charge fast, hold a charge for a long time, and on the low setting be used for a pretty long time. But when you turn it on high, you probably have about 3 to 5 minutes of max output, maybe, before it starts to degrade. And that's not very long, especially because that's where this thing excels at. You would want this to be a high output for a little bit longer than 3 to 5 minutes. If it was even 10 minutes, that would be great. That's kind of the drawback. The battery gets drained so fast on high output where you're going to be using those 600,000 Candela at a long distance. It's going to last very, very, very little time, and that's kind of a big drawback for me. You can also take the battery out. Just unscrew the tail cap here, and it's just one battery. You can buy additional batteries from FENIX, and you can have extended and / indefinite range if you can keep these charged. So you're probably thinking, man, this is a pretty cool flashlight. It's super bright. It can throw light a long distance. It literally is a laser. Like, I mean, that's pretty stinking cool just in its own right. But who is actually gonna need a light that you can see a mile? Most people won't. The people that will are gonna be your first responders looking for a missing person. You're gonna be maybe a farmer that is checking on his livestock in the middle of the night because he heard something. So he's gonna be able to step out on his front porch, turn this on, turn it on high, scan, see if his livestock is okay, and if there's something, go after it, or he'll be at peace because he knows nothing's wrong. That is really where this kind of light is going to shine. If you are looking for a close in, everyday, like walking light, this is definitely not going to be the light for you. It's still a great light, but it's just going to be used in a very specific application, and it may not be the application that you think you will need. FENIX has a lot of great options that are not lasers, and they're just more normal use, everyday use. But with that, this FENIX HT30R is a great flashlight. If you're looking for a light that you can use every day, this isn't it. This is a very point specific use, and I know I've kind of talked about it over and over again, but for the most part, if you need this light, you know you need this light. It's great for what you're gonna need it for, seeing a long distance. If you don't know what you would use this flashlight for, then maybe check out some other FENIX's products. Well, that about wraps up this review of the FENIX HT30R. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications for any further videos from Gear 43. You can also hit us up for all of our other articles at gear43.com. This has been Adam with Gear 43. We'll catch you on the next one.